This is Tim with Digital Survival. Thanks for joining me today for my 500 Hour Starfield review. I've been hearing about how reviews on Steam have been trending down for Starfield over the past month or two, and having enjoyed the game, I wanted to add my 2 cents to that pile. Before we start, it should go without saying that there are spoilers in this video. Let's get started. A couple of notes on my playstyle that impact what I'll be focusing on in the review. First, I haven't done much with the ship designer. I've watched videos by creators who've worked to maximize cargo or fighting capacity, and they've been enjoyable, but personally, I felt like the ships I've been able to acquire in the course of the game have been sufficient for my needs. Second, I've done very little with outpost construction. This is something I want to dig into further in the future, but with the whole pass through the Unity and leave it all behind philosophy behind the New Game Plus in Starfield, I haven't wanted to get deep into base building until I knew where I wanted to settle down. Third, I've enjoyed exploring. I know some players don't really like the wide open empty spaces of a procedurally generated planet, but I've found hopping or boost sprinting around the landscape, scanning flora, fauna, and inorganics to be pleasant. When I play Minecraft, I make maps and try to fill them in. I've done 20 by 4 map walls at level 2 magnification in Minecraft, so I'm a little on the outside of the main player base on stuff like that. Along with the physical exploration of both planets and cities, I enjoy the little interactions and side missions that Starfield is littered with. I have 500 hours in the game, and I've only toyed with the idea of going through the Unity. I have 3 characters I've played good hours on, each with their own personality and playstyle. My main character, Angela, is the one that's most like me. She has parents, married Sarah, is appalled by how Sam treats his daughter, and generally wants to be helpful. In the Crimson Fleet quest, she's stuck with Sistef all the way. My renegade character, Tim, tried to avoid Constellation entirely as much as he could. He ran off and joined the Freestar Collective Rangers early on, then got caught smuggling and pressed into service with UC Sistef to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet. That didn't last long before Sistef tried to arrest him, and he was all in with Delgado. Amos is my power-hungry character, and I only created him because it seems like the game asks for you to do that. He's the one who focused on collecting all the powers and completing the Amilary. He was able to do this by level 23. Angela, who still hasn't gone through the Unity but has all the powers, is level 52 and still has plenty of things I want to do before I feel like I've run out of playability. Before starting this, I wanted to read some of the recent reviews to see what people were complaining about, and I was surprised by the deep anger that seemed to accompany some of them. I honestly can't remember details because the author was so clearly emotionally injured by their experience that it overwhelmed any reasons they might have included. For me, however, the experience has been a fun one. Let me tell you why. Random dialogue. In the Crimson Fleet questline, my renegade character did a run with the fleet. At the end, we took the Vigilance and killed Akande and Toft. After that, we were able to go onto the bridge, which is a load to another playfield. When we came back to the command deck, where we'd had the final battle, Sarah said,
Under Akande runs a tight ship, so I suggest we be on our best behavior.
Akande's dead body was within sight of the door we just came through. Now you could find this super annoying and immersion breaking, or you could find it funny. I find it funny. A note on immersion, I'm not one to get sucked into a game and lose myself in it, so loading screens, weird glitches, and odd dialogue don't knock me out of my immersion in the game. For me, part of the fun is figuring out the underlying rules governing the game, and that means every minute I'm playing it, part of my brain is keenly aware that I am playing a game, not living an experience. Some of the other things Starfield did well. Side quests. Some are great, some are lame, but there's a lot to do, and not all of it's fetch. I still haven't done any of the Ryujin quests, hardly any of the Neon or Aquila side quests, or very many things from the numerous board missions, and I've been playing for 500 hours. The kid stuff trait is awesome. I love my parents. I wish they had more dialogue options, but they're awesome and turn up in some of the oddest places, and it works. I gotta wonder what percentage of negative reviewers tried the kid stuff trait and how many didn't. It may be one of the biggest fun adds to the game as I've played it. Speaking of things that add fun, the MANTIS. Batman in space. The clue to start the Mantis mission is often found early in the story quests and can appear in several different spacer encounters. It's not clearly labeled, but if you find it and follow through, you get a cool early game ship and armor set and some really unique and fun voice interactions with spacers and civilian ships alike. There are also news stories and environmental dialogue lines that show up to add flavor. One example, during the Crimson Fleet missions, if you've brought back the Mantis, you might pass someone in the hallway that says, "If I ever find that Mantis person, I'm gonna blow them out of the stars." Pretty cool. If I had to pick my favorite part of Starfield, being the Mantis would be it. One of the reasons I didn't go through the Unity with my main, and there were a bunch of reasons, but one was because it didn't give me a chance to hand off the Mantis role to someone else. Vladimir maybe, or Andreja? Hidden options. The Entangled mission is one of the best examples of this, where your mission objectives won't tell you everything that you can do. But if you read the lore items you get and poke around a bit, or look it up on YouTube, you'll find some choices that are better than any the game is explicitly offering you. This allows players who are really looking for it to accomplish some things most players will miss entirely. Now, it's not all wine and roses. There are weaknesses, one of them being the main storyline. I did a whole video on why going through the Unity was a horrible thing to do, and Bethesda made that the end you were supposed to try to get to. The problem is going through the Unity doesn't do anything for anyone else. You haven't helped anyone, saved anyone, or defeated anyone. It's more like jumping in a hole just to see where it goes. I think that lack of climax, that lack of accomplishment, left a lot of players feeling disappointed and some feeling hurt, and some may not have even understood why they felt that way. I understand that the Unity shows you scenes and tells you the impact you've left on the galaxy, but that's like reminding someone of their high school accomplishments. It's nostalgia with nothing to add to it. It's a self-indulgent pat on the back before abandoning everyone for another universe. Characters. My favorite game of all time is still the Mass Effect trilogy, and one of the things it does really well that I haven't seen any other game do nearly as well is character development. Garrus Vakarian, Tali'Zorah, and Rex are multifaceted, interesting characters that clearly have an emotional investment in something that has nothing to do with your character. If they trust you enough, they'll tell you about it, and you'll have a chance to help with it. And that's just in the first game. Mass Effect 2 has the most spectacular roster of companion characters ever assembled, and each one of them is more interesting and engaging than any character in Starfield. I wonder if part of the blandness of the characters is a desire not to offend any of those groups of people who will shout at you if you disagree with them. While understandable, it is disappointing. As the game continues to grow and evolve, we'll see if it was fear or just exhaustion at the root of the non-engaging dialogue choices. We also have a lack of choice in dialogues. It always bugs me when what seems like an obvious response to me is not included at all in my options. For example, when I played the Crimson Fleet mission and sided with the fleet, at the end, Akande asked me why I did it, right before I killed him. The choices are extremely basic. I like money, I like to have fun, or I'm a bad guy at heart. What they didn't have was an option for the guy who got pressed into service, the petty criminal who Akande coerced into joining a bunch of murderous pirates. It made perfect sense to me that, as a budding smuggler, I'd much prefer to join the Crimson Fleet and get better tech to help me with my smuggling and missions to make me money. What did UC SysDev have to offer a guy like me? The fact that Akande was confused and surprised by this made him look like an idiot. And the fact that I couldn't say it as a response, but had to go with, "I have my reasons," makes me think the writing team didn't put much thought into my options. My hope is that Bethesda will recognize the weaknesses that are grating on the community the most and start working on improving them. New dialogue options would add replayability to missions that, without them, would just be tedious. What I hope Bethesda avoids is the mistake the Mass Effect team made when the biggest criticism of their game was the combat mechanics. They shorted themselves on the parts they did best, the story and character development, and tried to produce a great combat experience. The result, Andromeda, alienated more fans than it satisfied. At the end of the day, I like Starfield and plan to continue playing it. This game is less than 6 months old, and I expect Bethesda to add to it and make it easier for the community to add to it as well. Given that one of the games I play most, recently celebrated 10 years in alpha, not even beta yet. I think it only reasonable to give Starfield some time to get its feet under it. Now, my next mission is to get rid of Sam so Cora can have a healthy family relationship. Thanks for joining me today. I hope this has been entertaining and/or helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe, and/or share. It helps me keep doing this thing that I love. Thanks, and see you soon.